the community colleges are in fact uniquely qualified. This fall we have a number of occupational programs that are at maximum. Our building trades, construction technology, nursing, automotive technology, a program that trains people to work in the utility industry as linemen. A variety of those sorts of programs are already filled, and there's a greater demand as people recognize that there are very good jobs out there in those particular fields. We need to work with the community and make the community first, I believe, aware that these are great job opportunities. Mining is a good example. The miners today are certainly not the miners with the pick and axe that we may have remember from years ago. They're very technologically oriented folks who will be using some very technologically superior equipment. So we need to get the message out to folks in a variety of ways that there are very good jobs here. We work extensively with business and industry. We have a number of advisory groups that, from our occupational programs, that meet with representatives of those industries to make sure that our curriculum is current. We've had some initial discussions with the companies interested in mining our mineral resources to look at what those curriculums may want to look like. We're currently offering, and we'll be offering, some customized training for a group, industry group in the Chassel area. So we have a record of doing those sorts of things, and we will continue to do that. As part of that, we need to continually work to get that message out there that there is, in fact, a demand for and very good career-oriented positions with a 2-year degree.
John, you know, you mentioned earlier in the introduction about your long history with education. Maybe we could talk a little bit about that. I go back a little ways, and we had talked earlier before the show actually started about, the kids and the impressions the kids have as they're coming through our educational system, and concerns, where they end up and what their future will look like. Maybe you could share a little bit about your history and what you've seen in the past.
Well, I see that at one time, I think quite a few years ago, there was a little bit more of a stigma on vocational technical education than there is now. It was believed that if you didn't go on to get a 4-year degree, there was a limited success in a student's futures. But I think now that we're beginning to see that over half the jobs of the future are going to be requiring education beyond high school, but not necessarily a 4-year bachelor's or a master's degree. And there are a lot of well-paying jobs that are available to students that can enter vocational and technical programs. And maybe a bonus to that is they don't have to go 4 years to college to get the degree and the job. And there's a lot of well-paying jobs that are out there in the health field, as you mentioned, in mining and the technical fields. And these are fields that have high demand for students. But I think what we need to probably do more of, maybe a little bit, is provide that education or that information to students that it's important to go for education beyond high school, but it may not necessarily have to be for 4 years or more.
Yeah, it seems like the conversation really starts probably at home around the kitchen table with mom and dad, and talking about that. I know growing up, the big thing was, you needed to go off to a 4-year college, and it was tagged as success by doing that, and many people will go and be successful with that education, but at the same time, I think a lot of kids have skills and abilities that are a little bit different than just going to college. And you mentioned the idea of making good money at doing it, and sometimes we play that role too. The more money equates into happiness. And coming from the Upper Peninsula, I don't know that that's quite true. I mean, you need to make a living. I certainly understand that, but living where we live is enjoyable too, and keeping that way of life up in the UP. And a lot of these jobs offer that opportunity where we can stay home, our children can stay home. So I think it is important to have the conversation.
Get the word out of what you had just said, that there are employers in the Upper Peninsula that are going to be looking for skilled people that can live here and stay here. Right? And I think we have many of our students that would like to do that.
The Upper Peninsula is known for having a great workforce, which has a quality and work ethic, and we hear employers say that over and over again. The challenge we have in higher education, K-12, government, is how do we create the opportunities for them to have that gainful employment, whether it's a 2-year occupational career or a 4-year degree. And part of that challenge is the recognition that we're training students today for jobs that we don't know yet exist. to use technology that hasn't been invented yet to solve problems that we don't even know are problems.
That's right.
So it's a challenging time. It's a fun time, but there's a lot of opportunity out there for students.
Yeah, I would agree. Just shift gears for a minute. Lansing Media has reported that Michigan State University has a record freshman class count. How about Gogebic Community College? How are we doing on enrollment?
We're doing strong. Over the last 4 years, we've had a 35% increase in enrollment. This current fall, we're experiencing about a 5% drop, which is not, from our perspective, bad. As we've interviewed those students who are leaving Gogebic, what we're finding out is the vast majority of those folks have jobs. And because of the retraining they've had at Gogebic, they were able to seek and be successful at finding jobs. We think that's a great success story, frankly. And if you're going to lose students, well, how better to lose them because they found jobs that can support their family. We lost about 5%. We're still much larger in terms of students counts than we were several years ago. It has put us at some capacity issues, and as you're aware, we're working on some projects that would build capacity at the college. But even as part of that, we're looking at how to modify existing spaces so that you're not incurring great cost. And again, we're looking at partnerships to handle the influx of students and new programs. The 5%, well, we hate to see those folks leave. We're very pleased that we were able to help them, retrain them, and give them the opportunity for a new job.
You know, one of the things too that it certainly should be, we should get the word out, and that is the community college, the bang for the dollar. They certainly give a great education. When you look at the amount of tuition charges there are at community colleges, wonderful opportunities for people that are concerned about the cost of education. I really think you've created a system within the community colleges to be competitive and help and really meet a niche. Is that something you're seeing?
It is, and in fact, I would tell you one of the things that we work under at Gogebic, and I believe it's the case at all of the community colleges in Michigan, is that we recognize that the reason we're there is a student. And it's our primary mission to serve those students and give them a meaningful opportunity for improved quality of life. We're very proud at Gogebic. Last spring, we were recognized by the U.S. Department of Education and the Aspen Institute as being among the top 10% of public community colleges nationwide, based on our record of graduation rates, retention rates, working with disadvantaged students, and our improvement over time. Additionally, this summer, we were recognized as being among the top of the public community colleges in the country at having a lowest net cost to students. So part of that reflects the number of economically disadvantaged students that we have. It also reflects greatly on the great work that all of our staff do in helping students succeed and giving them opportunities to access scholarships and financial aid packages, yet in a way, we're very careful to manage their student loan portfolios, to make sure students understand that a student loan is a student loan and that there is a payback at some point. And that's not free money. So we work very carefully with students on financial aid so that they understand the ramifications, yet have the resources they need to complete their education.
If I may add, when students are planning, students and their parents are planning for college over, let's say, the next 4 years, part of it is how much money is it going to cost, and when they're looking at the four-year universities, public, private, and they look at GCC, they see that the first 2 years can be relatively inexpensive with relatively low tuition and a good financial aid opportunities, and many students can stay at home. And so we're finding a higher percentage of high school graduates are choosing to begin at Gogebic or at a community college. And it's not as big a bill when they're done with the four-year bachelor's degree or wherever they go. There's not as large a price tag if they have an opportunity. And the transferability of credits is just excellent. And I think sometimes we hear that not all credits will transfer, but it's just an excellent transfer program for credits to start at a community college and transfer on to the four-year universities.
Something else that I've noticed with community colleges where they've met a niche in our communities, I reflect back to when I first was elected back in 2002 into the 2003 cycle, and there was a machine shop that closed down right at the same time I got elected, and it was heartbreaking because it was heading into the Christmas season. 200 and some people lost their jobs, and in that case, Bay College, community college, stepped up and helped retrain many of those people to get them into other fields, and it was a fast transition, really. And I think we could say the same thing with Gogebic Community College with the closure of the Smurfit Stone facility in Ontonagon. I think you had a lot of that where you were really the folks shifted their attention towards Gogebic Community College. Maybe you could reflect on that a minute.
The Smurfit Stone folks, in fact, a number of those are the folks who are leaving because the retraining has got them new jobs. But we were faced with the dilemma of bringing in a large number of people to be retrained, some who which have not been in a classroom setting since they were in high school, and they range from early 20s to early 60s in age. And the key to that is you work with people individually, find out what their goals or ideas may be, and then put together a package, a program that will help them get to where they want to be. Our staff did a phenomenally great job with those folks. And frankly, those folks added immensely to the classroom setting. Our instructors have told me that they were able to bring experiential information to the classroom that amazed some of the younger students. So it was a good match for us. We still have a number of folks on campus. I think 50 or more are still on campus. The circumstances were very difficult, but we're pleased we can help them and give them a greater opportunity.
Good. This goes by pretty fast. So I want to thank both Jim and John for joining us today. And with that, I want to thank everybody for joining us, keeping up with the Capitol, and ask that you join us again as we talk about the important issues that reflect and we are impacting to us in the Upper Peninsula. So thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
Thank you.